What's up guys and girls, welcome to another video. It's time to start making some theories about the newly released God of War Ragnarok story trailer, and the first one I want to go over is Mimir. There are multiple parts of this trailer where Mimir is not present at the time. I think Odin took him. We saw in the trailer Odin appearing at the front door. He comes to try to make a compromise with Kratos of some kind, trying to prevent Kratos from interfering, but becoming aggressive throughout the conversation, saying Kratos knows nothing of godhood. I think during this conversation, it gets very hostile very quickly. However, I think he takes an opportunity to take Mimir away. I think Odin takes him, and then we have to once again find him, free him after Odin got all the information that he wanted out of Mimir. That's why we don't see him in certain parts of the trailer. The parts we do see him in the trailer is when we either got him back or before he was taken. This theory is supported in God of War 2018 in various ways, with Odin's character, Odins Past and what we know about him in the lore, even the Jotunheim mural itself. Let's start with the mural. The first part of the panel is the history of God of War 2018, everything that happened in that game. However, the panel next to it represents the next game, God of War Ragnarok. On that panel, we see Atreus holding a body and walking alone with 3 wolves. However, what people don't talk about is on the top left part of the panel, Mimir's head is back on a tree. Also around the tree you can see 2 ravens. Next to the ravens are runes which translated say Hugin and Munin, which are the names of Odin's 2 personal ravens. Since the mural shows God of War 2018's events in sequential order, Mimir's head, according to the mural, is going to be one of the first big events of God of War Ragnarok. Speaking of those 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin, they're already in God of War Ragnarok and were already mentioned. In the epilogue of the God of War novel, during Fimbulwinter, the 2 ravens were watching Kratos and Atreus. I think Odin arrives at their home. After talking to Kratos and Atreus to prevent them from interfering, he takes the head back, taking an opportunity. This was done several times throughout God of War 2018 with Odins Past and his character. I think in the beginning of the game, once Kratos returns to the house where Mimir is by himself, I think Kratos attaches Mimir onto him, and then Odin will pop up. He pops up and then he snatches Mimir in the conversation. We run after him, go outside, and Thor is waiting for us. And then that battle with Thor happens that we saw in the trailer. And if you pay attention closely, Mimir is now on Kratos' waist during that battle scene. Some of the parts in the trailer where you don't see Mimir is during the Valkyrie fight when Kratos is lifting himself up. You can clearly see that Mimir isn't there. During a fight in Helheim, you can clearly see that Mimir also isn't there. And there are multiple times throughout this trailer where he's just not there. So we're going on a journey for a long time and Mimir is not with us. This tells me he were actually looking for him. Now, before we get into what he's done in the past, I know what you're thinking right now. Why would Odin want Mimir back in the first place? Mimir is a wealth of knowledge to Odin. Anything Odin wants to know, he can simply ask Mimir. I know what you're thinking again. Why would Mimir even help Odin? Well, did you know Mimir has no choice but to help Odin? In the God of War art book, it gives some information on certain things, and it gave a description on Mimir. Santa Monica also posted this in a description on Instagram. It says, Odin enchanted Mimir's tongue and his mind to never lie. That's why Odin never killed him. That's why Odin stuck his head on a tree. Cause Mimir is the smartest man alive and Odin seeks counsel from him, whether Mimir wants to or not. Odin meeting up with people in his past just to steal knowledge is something he's done multiple times. There is the story of Groa. We learned in God of War 2018, Odin will do anything for knowledge, like how he appeared to Groa. The 2 knew each other. Groa welcomed him as a friend. However, Odin killed her and took her entire library for himself, and the only reason he did this is because he learned that Groa had a prophecy of Ragnarok.
Look here, another.
This giant's a sorceress. Her name is Groa. Looks like she had visions. Did Odin kill her for her book? Mimir, there was a shrine about a giant lady with lots of books and visions.
Ah, that would be Groa, the Knowledge Keeper. She was a gifted sorceress who gathered every tome of arcane wisdom she could find in the realms, all in the hopes of augmenting her powers of prophecy that she might find her lost husband, Arvandil. But it was not her husband she would glimpse in her visions, for it was Groa, seeing longer and farther than any before or since, who witnessed Ragnarok, the end and the beginning. Odin caught word of her ultimate prophecy. He maneuvered to obtain her knowledge and hoard it for himself. Groa knew Odin as a long-time patron of her services, and so she welcomed him into her library as a friend. What she did not know is that Odin himself was behind her husband's disappearance, having used his enchantments to conceal his death at Thor's hands from her sight. Smiling, jealous Odin took her by the throat, and with his very hands he stole her library and her life for his own.
I always knew Odin was bad. That's just...
Ruthless, barbaric, heartless? That's Odin. In fact, we would do well to sit here in silence for the next few moments and reflect on Odin's capacity for cruelty. And so...
Reflect longer.
Or the story of Tyr bringing Odin to Jotunheim to maybe make some peace between the gods and the giants. However, Odin never wanted peace, and he used this opportunity again to steal knowledge. After the giants found out what he was doing, the giants banned him from ever coming to Jotunheim ever again. That was just 2 instances of Odin going to people and appearing under a false narrative to maybe talk to them or welcome them. However, Odin is just there to steal knowledge. This is the type of person he is. This is why I'm convinced in God of War Ragnarok why he goes to Kratos and Atreus and talks to them. He's not there to make peace with them or really to convince Kratos to stop interfering or even convince him that he doesn't want this war and just to stay home. In fact, he's just there to steal Mimir, knowledge. Odin is a master at manipulation. Here is an interview from Corey Barlog where he briefly talks about Odin being a master manipulator.
Right? And it doesn't matter that what she did completely messed him up. She's not ready to process that, right? She's still dealing with the fact that Odin is a giant douche, right? And the things that he did to her, right? Because he's the psychological warrior, right? Odin is kind of this character that he's not about punching you in the face, right? He's about, the psychological manipulation of saying, we're going to get a divorce and I'm going to make your son choose me, right? How messed up is that, right? So that everybody has such weird tragedies going on in their life. And to me, I kind of always look at Freya as going into this.
So what type of questions could Odin want to know from Mimir? Well, Mimir did spend an entire game with us. He knows everything about Kratos and Atreus. He knows what we've been through, our struggles, but more importantly, our strengths and our weaknesses. If Odin gets his hands on Mimir, he can tell Odin all about Kratos. Even though it seems Odin already knows who Kratos is and already has that knowledge, Mimir can get really deep and personal. Maybe he can say how to screw with Kratos' mind or the best way to get Atreus to join his side, Loki. Now I'm just spitballing here, but let's say Odin wonders how he can get Atreus, Loki on his side because he is a giant. Maybe Mimir says, make Atreus a promise that if you help Odin, he can bring Faye back. He can bring back his mother. That isn't part of my theory. I'm just spitballing things that Odin can learn from Mimir. Maybe Odin is looking for a certain artifact and needs Mimir to find that out. Hell, remember Freya wanted to find where her warrior spirit is, and Mimir told us while we were in Jotunheim, she confronted him while he was just ahead. So it's really interesting. What do you all think about this theory? Did Odin take Mimir? In my mind, I made this a similar theory a while ago where I kind of talked about Mimir's head on the Jotunheim mural. So it's very interesting. I get to bring this theory back. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. I'm gonna be out of here. Thank you guys and girls for listening. Deuces.
We will make our own destiny.